Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to the Black Dragon League streams today. Yeah, hi Sean.
Hey, what's going on, man?
That's actually what you wanted me to ask. So, what are you doing in Germany?
Oh, that's a great question. So for any of you who didn't know, I have been known to show up to a tournament every now and again. The one problem with the Europe ones is that they take place in the future. They're 9 hours ahead of where I am in California. So when I went to DreamHack, I almost dropped dead. So my friend Zoe suggested that I come out here because she works here at Game Sports and was like, show up early and just make content. So we're going to do a little recording here today, and we're going to be making some more content later this week with Zoe. Pretty excited, which means that I will continue to be on the internet, which is my home.
So what did you do the last couple of days?
Worked on my senior thesis and woke up at 3 in the morning because I'm jet lagged. So far things are working to plan, but I'm turning in my thesis draft today. So I don't have to worry about school anymore. I have to only devote myself to video games.
So everything turned out alright with your thesis?
Well, I gave it to a professor, and I'm not going to be working on it anymore, so it's great. It's so good. And now I'm really excited because I understand the match lineup this evening is kick-ass.
And I understood that you recorded your daily today?
Multiple times.
How did that go?
I see. Now this is embarrassing. You'll see what I did with the technique, a clever segue, where I basically said, "Oh, so tell us about the matches." I tried to set you up, but instead, Khaldor brings up the fact that I recorded a daily with my mic off the whole time.
No, I didn't. I gave you the opportunity to totally skip that part.
But it's still a good story. I did this daily like the whole time. Okay, now just for the record, when I do a regular daily at home, sometimes the stream's unstable and sometimes some people can't quite get a good connection. But today it was me talking by myself in front of a camera with no audio, like enthusiastically, like totally muted the whole time. So that was a good 2-hour run there. But you know what? The daily was just as good the second time around. So that's getting encoded and will be uploaded eventually.
Yeah, we will do that directly after the stream finished. So after the stream, I will basically redo the whole thingy again.
Yeah.
And the second part, and then we'll upload it.
And assuming my jet lag isn't too bad, I might pass out this evening. But you know what? Look for it. I guess I would say today if you live in America. Because again, in the future in Germany, we're encoding so that way you can watch it in the present.
You just live in the past.
That's a good point. It is true. It is a rough life.
No, but basically it was really funny. He recorded everything. We set up the whole studio.
This is so embarrassing. Oh.
Don't you want me to tell it?
No, go ahead. Go ahead and tell. I'm just going to be red-cheeked. I'm going to be all flushed and flustered the whole time.
I mean, in his defense, one has to say it's really hard if you stream with different settings and you're not used to everything. So
it's also hard for your microphone box to work when you sit on it the whole time. I was like, I'll just sit on it. I'll put it right between my legs like I'm driving my car and it's my iPhone, because that's a great place to keep your phone when you're driving. Because if it buzzes, you know that somebody texted you, right?
And you're always happy when it buzzes.
No doubt, especially because when I'm, blasting Justin Timberlake in my car, if I had it in like the car seat next to me, I can't hear it. So that's like the money spot. But apparently with my microphone, I just sat on it and it broke it. And
I asked him before, well, actually you have to use those earphones in order to hear sound. Don't worry about it. I don't need sound. I know the sound of Marines dying. That's no problem at all.
I do this for a living, you idiot. And I like sent him out of the room.
And after an hour he came to the door and was like, well, I'm not too sure about it, but I think there might be something wrong. Can you check it? And,
it was a strong dry run, I think.
There was something with the sound, and, and I just checked the videos, and I was like, well, there's no voice at all. What happened? And at some point in the video, you just see him just suddenly turning around and grabbing at his ass, apparently.
Like, I'm fixing the microphone box, but you don't know. There's no sound. I'm just...
And while fixing the microphone, he basically just turned it off, so there was no sound at all, which you would have noticed with the earphones, but you...
Yeah, it's okay. My ears are rejecting him at this point in time, but you know what? It's not a big deal. It's something I can work with. Everything's going to be cool.
Well, at this point, I can actually listen to your voice, so if you actually turn it off again, that won't be a problem at all.
No big deal. And one thing I also learned about myself is that, as a matter of fact, I look very silly. If you don't understand what I'm saying, while muted, I apparently talk with my arms a lot. I do a lot of...
He actually does.
And I do a lot of this. I have a wide range of distance that I need just available for my body movement to be able to talk.
I can give you the recordings as well.
That'd be good.
We have outtake at some point.
Yeah, it'll be your job to make a good video. These headphones are not going to stay in. You know what? I'm just going to trust that things are great.
Don't insult the earphones. They're actually mine.
They're your earphones. Well, apparently my ears are just very, very poorly shaped. But that's fine. You know what? I'm gonna cherish these for life, and I'll set them in my lap, and eagerly await the joining of this game, which, as it looks like, is White Raw versus Goody.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently the first map will be Scrap Station, and Jungle Basin will be the second map, whereas Sakura's Plateau will be the third map if we actually need it.
So how was, I'm seeing it looks like a series of downvotes. Is it just the regular Blizzard map and then they alternate in terms of downvoting?
Yeah.
Until they get
So the highest seeded player votes the first map, and then they just download the map.
Alright, cool.
So pretty simple system.
I mean, I'm kind of interested to see how the newer leagues are going to be like incorporating some of those like larger GSL maps and stuff.
Yep.
Because I mean, when you have this map list where, you know, there's Steps of War is still kind of there, and it's like first downvote steps like every time.
That's the one thing that I don't get. Why is Steps of War still in the map pool? I mean, seriously. As you always said, it's the first map that always gets a downvote.
And your base starts out inside of his base.
Exactly.
So it's just like, well, if I'm Zerg, I can 6-pool or just attack with only my drones when I have 12 of them, and I'll have like an 80% win rate. Balance, balance. You know, it's like a...
Here we go.
I just have to be very proud of that joke I just said. Oh, that's the best part about doing a stream like this in a studio, is that I have absolutely no idea if someone enjoyed that joke, but you know what? I enjoyed that joke. Casting is a very personal
I have to admit,
experience.
At that point, I didn't listen because I was just
you're trying to join the game. No, you're trying to actually participate in the streaming, but that's okay. Got it. Got this one done. So it looks like Duckload, who I'm still going to occasionally call White Raw, is going to be the red Protoss pieces. ESC's Goody, of course, going to be the Terran, and Scrap Station, which weirdly, so many people thought that this map was just horrendous, absolutely appalling balance in those early days, but now it's like one of the most regularly chosen maps in map pools for both for all three races, which I found like quite surprising over time. But I know that White Raw loves maps like these where there's like long distances between the bases, because he loves getting up that Speed Zealot Colossus mix.
That's actually the map where I first saw him play with Warp Prisms quite a lot, and that's the tactic I told you earlier about. He played versus Strelok a couple of times. That was exactly Scrap Station, and he basically perfected it. And I'm really eager to know if you play the same strategy today again.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think is like really underused about that Warp Prism. Oh, yes. Oh, okay, to hell with the Warp Prism for the time being. Oh, Captain ESC Goody at the north position as the purple Terran, and at the right, Duckload, aka White Raw, is that red Protoss. You know, that's one thing that I think is so underused about the Warp Prism, is that people, day one of the game, were so excited that they could, you know, have a mobile pylon to warp things in, but it's still a shuttle. You can still just lift things into it and drop the things in his base and do damage. And White Rod hardly does excessive warping in, but the drops are what just do outrageous damage to the Terran.
Yeah, but the Strelok, for example, he just waited until he got one Stalker and two Zealots, immediately put them into the Warp Prism and flew over to his opponent.
Yeah.
Got a couple of warp spins as well, but basically relied on his drop ability.
Absolutely love that. Doesn't look like anything too out of the ordinary. And I say that just because White Raw has been known to do a lot of proxies in the early days on this map. Goody, I'm real interested to see the way that Goody's going to play, because he's one of those few Terran players who's all about like the Blue Flame Hellion tank mix in Terran vs. Terran, and I've seen him occasionally do it against Protosses as well. I mean, I'd be a little surprised if he did it on this map, but still, I'm praying. I'm praying, because the Blue Flame Hellion is like my favorite unit in the game ever since I saw Phoenix's Blue Flame Hellion kill 24 of Tyler's probes in one shot. That was the coolest day of my life.
Was that on Zelnaga Caverns?
Yeah, it was on Zelnaga Caverns on Dreamhack. You were casting that game.
I remember that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that was actually insane. I mean, I've seen Cast do that quite a lot when we had, for example, the qualifiers up for the Black Dragon League. He used Blue Flame Hellions quite often, but that game you just mentioned with Tyler, it was just ridiculous. I mean, he lost his whole economy within 10 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, within like half a second, and I laughed and laughed, because remember, as the commentator, you always win. So tell me,
Best spot in the game.
Have you seen like any of Goody's recent style in Terran vs. Protoss in the Black Dragon League?
Actually, I didn't cast the last 2 match days.
Man, how... It looks like we'll have to be fumbling in the dark. Looks like Goody is just going for that usual barracks gas style. I don't think that he'll be going for any sort of anything too crazy, just because these distances really just limit you generally to some sort of faster-ish expansion build or some sort of harass into faster-ish expansion. Rarely is there any mass aggression other than, like, you know, 3 barracks, you know, jammed through the middle.
I actually have to do the redo the settings of this of the StarCraft later on, because apparently, well, at the weekend some of the guys were streaming, and apparently they changed the settings. So
That was actually me for the daily. So I'm the cause of all those issues. I'm kind of sorry, but actually I think my settings are awesome.
I was just like, what? Why is the scrolling so fast? And why, for God's sake, are hit bars off and everything?
Yeah, man, dude, you gotta do it on selected. Otherwise, like, it's always terrible when there's like 100 Zerglings on the screen, and it's like perfect. There's 100 health bars, exactly as I so desire it.
I actually prefer that.
Really? I mean, yeah. I prefer it when I'm playing, but when I'm observing, I like the idea that I'm watching Starship Troopers.
Well, my problem is that I'm basically used to it, because when in Warcraft 3 we always used to do that, and every time I don't see the hit point bars, I feel just like something is missing, and it's a little bit weird. But well, from an observer kind of view, you're probably right. I mean, can get pretty annoying with 100 Zerglings.
Does look like we see that there's that one starport going down for Goody. He hasn't taken a second gas yet, so in my eyes that's almost certainly going to be either some sort of fancy Marine Hellion drop, you know, with like no add-ons, or probably the more typical just sort of Banshee poke around Aru. But just like you were saying, Khaldor, look at that juicy, ultra-fast Robo going down for duck load.
And I'm so waiting for that Warp Prism.
I know. I would be willing to bet €1,000,000, and I would give odds that a Warp Prism is going to be popping out the instant that's finished, and not an Observer. I'll even be so bold as to say not an Observer. Let's see if I can make €1,000,000 today. €1,000,000.
You got
it. Oh, €1,000,000. Oh, I can't believe you guys took that bet. You're awful. All right, so it does look like that Warp Prism is coming out, and oh, it looks like Goody is in fact. Oh, look at this. He's going for the medevac, and he's getting the Viking out of that starport. That's actually very unusual to get that Viking that quickly. And nothing but Hellions and Marines, the defensive bunker. Doesn't look like any sort of expands coming up
I'm
that soon.
pretty sure he watched the replays of Dubloader on this map.
Yeah,
I'm really sure about that.
Goody watched the replay of this game before he played it.
No, not of this game, of the games of White Draw on this map versus Terran.
Oh, and look at this great timing. Look at the Warp Prism just walking right by the medevac. Oh, White Raw is going to have absolutely nothing in the main. There's the drop going on. And it looks like all the Marines are pulling back to try to do damage at the Warp Prism. And oh, the Warp Prism is going to fall. No, it looks like a ton of damage is being dealt in both players' bases.
Yeah, but on the other hand side, actually Goody is doing White Raw is doing a really good job just attacking those Hellions, and it didn't get too much damage done. So at the moment, we have 27 probes for White Raw still, and only 18 harvesters for Goody. So Goody lost a lot of economy in comparison to White Raw, and the Viking is probably going to die as well. Just repaired by the SCVs right now, and Goody is actually in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, wow, Goody's plan backfired super hard. There's his medevac trying to pull back, and there's a Stalker doing a good amount of damage. Still at 7 kills. Is he crazy? I can't believe... And of course the SCVs come up for the final high five, which caused the Stalker to explode into little blue bits. And another Warp Prism coming out. I could have made €2,000,000. I just didn't place my bet in time.
What do you think? Should Goody have been bold enough to just to go for that Viking as first unit out of the starport, and not for the medevac first?
I mean, it's one of those moves that's so risky because you just are praying that your opponent is going to be going for a Warp Prism, but it can work. It's one of those things, it's like, are you willing to do that huge of a risk in a tournament scenario? And honestly, against a player like White Raw, I would not object to that too much, taking that huge risk, because he's hard to win in a straight-up fight.
Yeah, but White Raw in a lot of trouble right now, losing another Warp Prism, just dropping those Stalkers, and immediately Goody is there with the units, but he only has a couple of Hellions. And that doesn't actually look too good for Goody. He's on 30 supply right now versus 41, losing this medevac. And the Hellions as well being focus fired by the Stalkers. And right now Goody is actually in quite a lot of trouble, losing a lot of SCVs right now. He's down to 19 SCVs, 18 SCVs at the moment versus 30 probes for White Raw. So the economy of the Terran of the Protoss player is just way ahead.
Gosh, and those siege tanks kill those Stalkers so quickly. And what's weird to me is that we're about to hit the 10-minute mark of this game, and neither player is taking an expansion. You know, Scrap Station, that's like the Expo Central map. Everyone loves taking their bases fast on this map, and it looks like
White Raw is going for Templar Archive right now.
Well, yeah, that's actually very weird. Look at Goody. Oh gosh, what is this, Terran Reserve? What a badass. Look at that, building the eBay at the